It's week 17, it's championship week, and it's time to go deep on the waiver wire. Going position by position, going as deep as possible for your traditional 12-team leagues, 16-teamers, 20-teamers. That way we get a little bit of everything before we head into Christmas. But before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're going over all the matchups this week. We're going deep on the waiver wire. We're doing deep dives on as many players as possible, and we're doing it all again next year. So if this helps you, you better click that button so you're around next year. But let's dig in. Let's look at our first players off the waiver wire going into the championship week. And some of you guys might have week 18 games, which we'll be around for that too. But Trey Benson is a player to watch out for because of James Conner's injury. However, the ankle might rule him out again. Something to pay attention to. Pay attention to the injury reports. The injury reports will be off this week. Due to the holidays, due to the influx of games, it's going to be very hard to pay attention to those. Look at your players off and on throughout the week. Trey Benson, if for some reason he's in this week, he's going to be a must pick up. He's got a lot of upside to his game, and he's got that speed to pop one off. He's been the guy getting the carries behind James Conner this year. Mari Demarcano is definitely going to be out. He's on IR. Trey Benson is a player to monitor throughout the week. If not, you got DeeJay Dallas and Michael Carter splitting the workload. And the thing is, this could be a situation where you're just praying for a touchdown from a running back. Really depends on how deep you are in your league, where you're at in your league. If you scavenged by it and make it to the championship game, most of you guys who are in the championship game are good. Or you're good. You don't need to pick up a random scab running back and pray for touches. Some of you are. I've done it. I've won leagues with guys like John Kuhn before, and I understand, and that's why I'm here for you. DeeJay Dallas, Michael Carter, they're splitting the workload. You're just going to pick your poison and just pray the game script rolls for you if Trey Benson isn't in. Now you're looking at Jalen McMillan. He should be picked up. He should not be on the waiver wire. If he is, grab him ASAP because he's running a lot of routes. He's getting a lot of opportunities. He's getting the targets. In his last 3 games, 7 targets, 6 targets, 7 targets. We're getting the volume. We're getting a lot of touchdowns. 4 touchdowns in his last 3 games. We got Carolina coming up this week. A great matchup for him to get more opportunity. If you got a week 18 game, you got the Saints in the last week of the season. Jalen McMillan finishing the season out strong. Bryce Young is going YOLO with the ball. He doesn't care. He's pushing it downfield. A little bit lower last week, but still you're getting a little bit on the ground as well. That being said, he's in situations where the game script's pushed. They're seeing what they can get out of him. They're trying to get experience out of him. And he's in those opportunities where he could get you fantasy production. You got Tampa Bay on the road. That's a good matchup for him. So if you're really hurting at quarterback going into your championship week, this could be one guy to look at. Chig Okonkwo, 21 targets in his last 2 games. And he's catching a lot of balls. He's getting a lot of opportunity. We got Jacksonville on the road. I can't say that trend is going to 100% continue. But we should push 5+ targets going forward for the rest of the season. It's 2 more games. We should be getting volume. And you chase the volume and see what happens. Tight ends are up and down. So I wouldn't be surprised if we catch a down game. But we've been on the hot. We've been hitting 3 out of our last 5 games. That's rather solid. Chig Okonkwo is a tight end. If you're looking to stream tight ends, is a guy to look at for this week. Tyjae Spears. Again, you're watching Tony Pollard. He's been hot these last few weeks. We got Jacksonville on the road, which is a good matchup for running backs. There's a lot of good opportunity in this matchup for him. If anything, you may want to just have him stashed so he can't be used against you. That's one thing you want to look at the waiver wire here. Guys that can be used against you if they were thrown in the flex that could potentially hurt you. Tyjae Spears could accidentally hurt you. He's already done that in the last few weeks. He's a guy that could accidentally hurt you. If he's sitting there on waivers, pick him up just to stash so he can't accidentally blow up your season. Hollywood Brown, if you're looking for targets at the wide receiver position, he's risky. We got 2 bad matchups coming up on the road, Pittsburgh and Denver. He's very risky. The volume's there. They're going to use him. He's acclimated in the offense. I wouldn't be surprised if he scores a touchdown in one of these 2 games. I think he'll get 5+ targets. I think he'll get the opportunity, but he's also very risky. Go with the guys that got you here. But again, I don't want him used against me either. Russell Wilson, if you're looking for a quarterback off the waiver wire, he's pushing it downfield. He's getting opportunities. He's been low in weeks 14 and weeks 15. However, prior to that, 414 yards, 270 yards, 205 yards. In 2024, the passing yardage has been lower on quarterbacks. However, he's been consistent. We do have the Chiefs this week. It's a harder matchup for quarterbacks. That being said, don't 100% trust it. Plus, we're going to be doing a deep dive on that game coming up later today. And again, Russell Wilson, only if you need to stretch it at quarterback. I really hope you're good at that position. Hunter Henry, though, he's just been solid at getting targets. Since week 9, 8 targets, 4 targets, 9 targets, 8 targets, 9 targets, 4 targets, 9 targets. We got the Chargers coming up. We got a revenge game. Hunter Henry has got a lot of upside in his offense. Drake May loves to throw him the rock. You're chasing volume here. It's not always going to hit. It hasn't always hit, but at least you know the target's going to be there. If you're streaming tight end, I think you already know about him because he's been getting targets these last few weeks. Kendre Miller busted in fantasy. However, the Saints are wrecked. They are wrecked. We got the Raiders coming up. He may not be in a game script where he just doesn't get the touches, but he's getting enough workload where he is getting his 10 opportunities. He got 10 opportunities in a wrecked game script last night. If you need 10 opportunities, then you could go after him and pray to the gods because he is explosive. If he sees green in front of him, he could hit. The Saints are going to be in wrecked game scripts, though. I said that in the matchup video, that game script's going to be wrecked and that you're going to have to pray for green in front of him. You're going to have to pray for some extra checkdowns in garbage time. That didn't happen. You did get your 10 opportunities. Didn't go so hot. You got the Raiders, a little bit better matchup. But if you're looking for strictly opportunities and touches, Kendre Miller should be looking at that. Romeo, Doubs, run a lot of routes, getting a lot of opportunities. Again, this was a wrecked game script last night for the Packers, too. On their side of the ball, they got up early. It's not like they were pushing the pace. You got Minnesota on the road. You got some opportunity here. He's a good threat downfield. He's a good threat for fantasy. He's not always going to hit, but he's always going to get opportunity with the routes ran. Michael Penix is a dandy you want to look at. You got Washington on the road. That is a game script that could pop off with Jaden Daniels and company. We got rookie-on-rookie action. I'm not trusting it in my championship game, but some of you guys are in deeper leagues. 20-team leagues, 22 leagues, Devy leagues. You're looking at what's going on at the quarterback position. You're looking at these matchups. You got Washington, Carolina, game scripts that could be pushed. Dalton, Schultz. Tank Dell is out, and there's going to be targets flown around in this offense now. He might be getting more opportunity. We got Baltimore coming up. That could allow him to get more opportunities, score fantasy points. Tennessee on the road, week 18, not loving it, but he could get you that touchdown. He's due to keep on scoring here. However, tight ends are up and down. He's been down in a lot of those promising moments throughout the season as well, like when Nico Collins has been out and everything else. He's not a guaranteed player. Alexander Mattison's a good touch merchant going forward, getting touches, workload up the gut, getting you that volume, and he could volume into some fantasy production to get you by. A good, reliable piece off the waiver wire if he's there, if you're looking for a running back to patch things up. An actual guy that you could throw in there that's actual usable for fantasy. May not hit, but at least you know the touches are going to be there. Relatively safe. Ameer Abdullah could be our league winner, and he's very sneaky. He's getting work in the passing game. That's a guy to look at. That's a guy to throw in there. A good jigsaw piece for your fantasy lineup for this week. You got the Saints, and that's just going to be a wrecked game script. It's going to be very interesting. Ameer Abdullah is a guy to look at. He's got a lot of upside. He's shown that these last few weeks. Catching the ball out of the backfield. Another running back to pay attention to, Rashod Bateman. Zay Flowers questionable. He's getting deep targets downfield. He's been off and on all season, but when he's on, he's on. Getting touchdowns downfield, the deep targets downfield. Rashod Bateman's got a lot of upside. He's a guy that you throw in your lineups and close your eyes. You don't ask to start sit questions with a wide receiver like this, because you do not know if he's going to be overshot on the target. You do not know if that's going to be broken up downfield, but you get those 1 or 2 targets downfield. You connect with those. It's game over. You're hitting big in fantasy football. Caleb Williams. It all matters what Caleb Williams you're going to get. He's still a rookie. He's up and down. There's some moments he shows promise. Some moments he looks like a bust. We all know that, but we're playing fantasy football. We're not here recruiting here top tier level talent. We're looking at Caleb Williams against Seattle here. We're getting some volume when it comes to pass attempts. We're getting a little bit of rushing production. If you got to stretch it, if you got Kimani code your quarterback position, this is another guy to look at. Brenton Strange busted last week. However, he's getting targets. He's getting opportunities. We got the Titans coming up week 17. Not a guy you're going to trust. But I don't trust any tight ends. I only trust like Brock Bowers, Kelsey, the top guys. But I don't trust any tight ends. I'm never going to trust a tight end. But here's another guy that's getting routes and workload. Patrick Taylor. Similar situation to Kendre Miller. And we got a bad matchup coming up against Detroit Lions. Here you're just looking at the volume. You're looking at the 10 or so opportunities, the touches and targets. And you're just hoping that lands in the fantasy production. If you're scared of it, don't do it. If there's another player like this, then get that player if you like him better. But again, pointing out here that if you're looking for double-digit opportunities, Patrick Taylor's a guy that you may want to look at. Zach Ertz getting workload in the offense. Not many targets these last few weeks, but we're running routes. We're against Atlanta. This could be an interesting game script that could allow him to be a good streamer for you in fantasy this week. Gus Edwards, 2 touchdowns last week. Another touch merchant. That's all he is, a touch merchant. I identify running backs as touch merchant these days because we're just looking at them getting 10-plus opportunities, touches and targets, and you never know what you're going to get out of it. Usually 2 out of 3 games, the running back will bust when I label them that. However, you're just hoping for that one game. Last week was that one game. We got the Patriots on the road. We're getting the workload. We have opportunities to score touchdowns. Maybe you can get lucky with Gus Edwards, but the touches are there. Jalen Coker's running a fair amount of routes. We got Tampa Bay on the road. Interesting game script for him. This is a game script that I do want to attack. He'll be on the outside getting opportunities. He's a gamble wide receiver. He is. This is a big gamble week for him. And if you can't make that gamble right now, then don't. You're not making that gamble unless you absolutely have to. So if you're stretched out, this could be a guy to look at. Audric Estime. He's another touch merchant. We're pushing, though, to 10. We're not past 10, so the odds are a little bit reduced. We do have Cincinnati on the road. The game script could be rather interesting. Javonte Williams getting touches, but again, you're hoping you cross the goal line. You're hoping you get enough workload, but Audric Estime is a running back to look at if you're just looking for touches. And we're looking at Olamide here. We got a lot of workload last week. We hit in fantasy production. We got a revenge game against Atlanta. This is going to be a very interesting matchup for him. And if you need to gamble at the wide receiver position, here's another guy to throw your hat on. Kimani Vidal. Not even a touch merchant, just like an explosive upside play that hasn't hit for a long time since week 6. I don't really recommend this. A lot of people is just throwing him in the waiver wire articles that I'm seeing. But I got to throw him in here since he's in those articles. He's an explosive play. If it's deep enough, like a 20-team league, and you're that hurt at running back, sure. Traditional 12-team leagues, I think you know what to do here. I don't think you're looking this way. Kayshon Boutte finally got his score, finally got his moment last week against the Bills. Can we do it again? But we were getting targets a lot. About 6 targets a game, running about 90% of the routes. We're getting opportunities. If this continues, we might have another splash performance. Looking at the other Patriots wide receivers, Demario Douglas is always safe for around the 10 spot. So you could be looking at that for him. And then Thornton's an upside play. He's more of a gamble. I don't know if you want to stretch it that far this week. Tank Bigsby is another touch merchant. He might be able to get you 10 fantasy points if you're looking for that. You know you're going to get 10 plus opportunities. He's kind of the safer touch merchant because you know the touches will absolutely be there. And there's a chance he could break loose. We got Tennessee, a little bit of a rougher matchup. However, you got touches. You know what you're banking on. And you're just hoping something breaks free either across the goal line or a decent run. Kenny McIntosh. You're watching Kenneth Walker on the injury report. More than likely going to suit up. He was getting some carries over Zach Charbonnet. This is a guy that could surprise you. And in deeper leagues, you may want to have him just in case. Especially if you got a Week 18 championship game. But not a guy you absolutely have to pick up. Especially in deeper formats. Those are the players that we're looking at off the waiver wire this week. Some of them we're not picking up, but we had to talk about them. Some of them we're looking at as just guys who are getting touches, and we're praying that something breaks free for. Some of these guys are just explosive gambles. Let me know who you're picking up in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. Well, thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.